6 AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zentrix AI.
Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any uploads or streams in the future, and of course share it with your friends as well. What is up, Ivan? Good morning. Hope you are doing good. As always, guys, got a bunch of markets to go through. We'll start with the USD pairs, take a look at the DXY, USD majors, gold and silver, and then we'll progress into some analysis of any particular pairs you might want me to look at, or of course we'll go through some pairs on my watch list and kind of share what I'm looking at personally as well. So if there is any pairs you are looking at, feel free to drop it in the chat. Let me know any particular time frames as well. Most of the time I'm on the 4-hour chart, but if there are other charts you want me to take a look at, let me know, and I shall get to it as well. But we'll start with the DXY as we normally do, which has been fairly interesting. I mean, to a degree, because I would still argue that price is very much within a range here. So we haven't really seen much progression in terms of a breakout, but price has definitely been back and forth over the past few days, rejecting resistance, support, pretty much rejecting resistance again this morning. So maybe price is waiting for NFP on Friday. Maybe we're waiting for that to be the big catalyst to actually get the ball rolling. I can see potentially maybe a news event to get us going, to be honest. So maybe we have to wait till Friday. But at the moment, price is still rejecting the highs. That current 4-hour candle is looking pretty bearish. It does close in 2 hours, so it does have some work to do. But I am looking at the rejection in the lower time frame, really aggressive wick to the upside, really strong close. I do think we can probably see a bit of a drop there for USD. Whether it gets us back to the low of the range or not, that's a different question. But I would suggest at least halfway, around about 98.1, at least a push into this area. I do think we can get to. If momentum stays strong, then perhaps we do see a push back to the low again. But as price continues within the range, that's all I'm really looking for price to do. As I've been saying, in terms of direction, well and truly waiting for price to break resistance or break support, and then I will kind of have my directional bias kind of sorted out, at least to a level which I'm confident with, which is if we do break to the downside, then I'm looking for a push to this low. If we do break to the upside, I'm looking for a push to that high. Whilst we're in the range, of course, it's just back and forth and not really interested in terms of finding opportunities or placing trades whilst we're in that situation. But if we do break out, I do think that could lead into something interesting. Euro USD, same situation applies with this one as well. We've got equal highs over here. Price has been doing a really good job at respecting the highs and so far respecting the lows as well. Looks like more or less come to the low of the range, not quite the low of the range, but more or less price is rejecting that level of support. And again, a pretty strong close this morning. So not really too interested with the price action, in all honesty, with Euro. As I've said, coming into the week, it's well and truly the breakouts, which is what is interesting me. Again, purely more from a swing bias. I do understand that intraday there will be some opportunities to buy the lows, sell the highs 100%. But I'm looking for the bigger move, and I would expect the bigger move to happen once we do commit to a direction. Whether, of course, it's to the upside or to the downside, we're not too sure yet. But similar to the DXY, if you do break higher, looking for us to go and push back to the prior swing highs and perhaps see some new highs there as well. And of course, if you do break to the downside, then I'm looking for us to at least hit the lows at 1.139 and perhaps continue further as well. But at the moment, it's just fluctuation, bouncing of support resistance. Unless you're kind of looking to pick the lows and sell the highs, I don't see much of an opportunity there with euro dollar and quite a lot of the USD pairs at the moment. Pound USD, same situation pretty much here as well. It looked at one point that price maybe breaking to the downside, but it looks to me that again support is doing a pretty good job and holding. You've got support once, twice. Of course, we did break through a couple of times over there, but then again, price looks like it's bouncing at that same level. I really like the wicks to the downside, strong close this morning. I think this is a strong sign to say that, okay, support is holding and perhaps we could see another rally for pound USD. And then more or less you got the highs of the so-called range over here. It's not really a textbook range, but more or less resistance holding price around 1.35. Rejecting this level, I do think there's a good chance we do push back into this kind of area of resistance. And then we'll go from there. As I said, with pound coming into the week, in terms of direction, I'm either going to be looking for a push back to the high here or the low here. And what will kind of dictate that is really depending which level price managed to break through and stays beyond. So do we clear the highs and break through resistance here? Well, then I do expect us to push back to the highs, whether we're looking for longs on the breakout or waiting for some type of pullback and retest opportunity. Either which way, I'm looking for us to push back to the highs, and likewise, if you do break to the downside, I'm looking for us to push back into the lows. So pound USD, similar to euro, fluctuating between two key levels until we get the breakout, until we get price making a move above one of those levels. Is just more kind of looking to buy the lows, sell the highs with pound. So if you do get in a long position from here, I do like that idea. Basically looking to try and take advantage of a swing back to resistance, and likewise with the sells up at the high. But in terms of direction, still unclear there for pound. And again, DXY is the main thing as well. If the DXY is not clear to me, then a lot of the USD pairs won't be very clear as well. Aussie dollar, interesting. Again, we had that really aggressive sell-off from resistance, which we were talking about coming to the week. Really nice rejection. I said that price overall is really, really flat for Aussie dollar. So we're not trying to overcomplicate things and look for trend opportunities and trend following opportunities, trying to follow momentum, because there is none of that. There is none of that here with Aussie dollar. Unfortunately, we just have a very, very flat market. So when we do have these type of conditions, the best way to trade it, in my opinion anyway, is to be looking to try and sell at major highs, significant levels of resistance, and of course buy at significant levels of support. So coming into the week, we mentioned this area could be a nice area for a reaction. And that, again, that's a key word, reaction. Not so much looking for a big swing trade here. You're more so just trying to catch reactions of key areas. It may turn into a big trade. You never know. Or it might just be a small kind of reaction off that level, and price might turn against you and you might walk away for a small win. That's up to the market at the end of the day. But yeah, really nice rejection from that level. Looks like we're kind of stalling, coming back into this demand zone consolidation. I wouldn't really be trying to pick up any trades from here. It's not really a significant area, kind of in the middle of a range, so to speak. Equal lows, equal highs. That's right in the middle, so I wouldn't really want to be doing anything there. If I'm looking for a new opportunity for Aussie dollar, it would be if price makes a move back to resistance again at 0.656, or makes a move into support and then buys off the low there. That's when I would say, okay, yeah, I think we've got a nice trade there. So that's all I'm looking for Aussie dollar. And of course, we've got the highs here as well. Really significant resistance. If this doesn't hold, then that becomes our next significant area to keep in mind. So yeah, Aussie dollar, really flat market. USD is flat as well, so I'm not really getting much directional bias from USD either. So best thing to do here, I would say, just pick the highs, pick the lows, and keep a close eye on the trade, because yeah, I'm not really seeing a swing bias, and there's not necessarily a direction I'm looking to trade towards. It's more so, okay, price is at a strong level, rejecting well, there should likely be a bounce here. Whereas for New Zealand dollar, there is slight direction in play, and might have missed the opportunity actually with New Zealand dollar. Looking at the channel here, connecting the lows, connecting the highs, was looking for price to hopefully test the upper end of the channel, which unfortunately we did not see. Looking for price to come into this area and then see a move back down. Unfortunately, that was not the case. We did tap into the area of supply, so price did respect it. Nice brief consolidation, strong drop lower. Then price did come back for the retest, but unfortunately no test of the trend line. So we did lack that confidence. But of course, in hindsight, we could see there was a lovely move down. But same thing with channel. I'm not really prepared to try and get involved in the middle of things. This dotted line there represents the middle of the channel. That for me is the worst area to try and get involved. The better areas, again, are always going to be at the high and at the low. So if price can make its way back to the low of the channel, naturally could be keeping an eye out for some buying opportunities. And of course, likewise with the highs, if you push to the high, reject well, there's still key confluence here. As long as we don't break out, I think shorts look good. So New Zealand dollar, just looking to play the low and the high of the channel. At the moment, in the middle, not trading at any sensible area. So the plan is to very much stay away and be patient. But should we get back to the high or the low, that's when I'll start to be a bit more interested. I forgot to take a look at dollar CAD, didn't I? Let's go over to dollar CAD. In terms of dollar CAD's interesting because I really like the shorts in dollar CAD, but it was quite aggressive in terms of the retracement. We are slowing down a little bit, which I do like the looks of, but I do want us to be a little bit more slower because this kind of looks like a bowl shape pattern, which is not really your textbook retracement pattern. You want price to resemble something more like this, not something more like this. And again, this is more of a reversal pattern than a pullback pattern. This is more of a pullback than a reversal. Of course, the market is funny. Just because it's more of a reversal pattern doesn't mean 100% of the time it will lead to reversal. Sometimes you do see a continuation, and of course, sometimes you would see a reversal. So again, you can't really speak in absolutes, but you can speak in probabilities, and that doesn't necessarily give us the highest probability of a good pullback. But things can develop. We might turn corrective and become a lot more corrective, and the opportunity could improve as time continues. And that's really what I'm banking on now for USD CAD. I am still pretty bearish bias. Again, we're respecting key resistance on the weekly chart, which has really set the tone. So if we do manage to respect this, eventually I do see us rolling over, unless we do a crazy breakout. So yeah, I do eventually see us rolling over. Really nice supply zone, strong drop to the downside. So naturally just looking to see what we can do at that zone. And things look good. Looking to take some shorts, at least back into support. We could probably go further, but I think that'll be a healthy target for the week. So dollar CAD, definitely a USD pair, which I do like the look of. As for gold's looking good. I have to say, momentum's looking good. Well and truly broke through the all-time highs here at 3,500. We have well and truly put that to bed, and momentum is still very, very strong. So again, we have broken out of a big consolidation. We have broken out of a big range. So if this is well and truly the case, we could see gold explode. Typically, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout. And gold's been in a consolidation for about 3 or 4 months here. So we could see price well and truly pick up some really nice momentum. I mean, we're doing that already. But we've got the next big psychological level at 3,600. Of course, we just moved past 3,500. So that will be the next target. Of course, we've got the big one at 4K, but that's still quite some distance away. So I wouldn't get too caught up in that just yet. But 3,600 is probably the next big one for me. So in terms of opportunities for gold, as I said yesterday, you're just looking for pullbacks. You're not trying to overcomplicate this. I wouldn't try and look to pick highs, fade momentum, none of that. I'll just be looking to try and flow with the market, continue the uptrend until we see some red flags, big selling pressure, breaking structure. Then, of course, we can pause the bias. But for now, still seeing really strong candles breaking us to the upside. Really nice zone here, which will act like an area of demand. If price can come back and retest that, I think it's a smart place for a buy, and targets back to where we came from and beyond. So that's very much what I like to see with gold. And silver, we're getting very much the similar thing. Didn't quite see some new highs yesterday. I mean, we did just about, but not in the same manner as gold. But it doesn't have to be. We still do have some very nice areas, which I like the look of, trading just below price here. So again, a push to either of these areas would be interesting. And provided we see some healthy rejection, provided the pullback looks healthy as well, and the confirmations look good, I would definitely love to get into some longs for silver. Looking at the daily chart, trend looks like it's still in motion. I still do expect us to eventually get to 50 for silver. So in my book, there's a long way to go. So yeah, just looking at pullbacks, momentum looks good. Trend looks healthy. Plan plan is just to keep looking to find healthy pullbacks and keep buying it until, again, proven otherwise, maybe some heavy selling pressure, price start to show some reversal patterns. At the moment, not seeing any signs of that. So yeah, USD is still indecisive. Of course, gold and silver doing their own thing right now. Yeah, typically you will probably see a weak USD at the moment with how gold and silver are moving, but not quite the case. In terms of DXY itself, very, very flat. So not interested at all with the dollar until it does manage to break out. And then, of course, that kind of spills over to other USD pairs. Dollar CAD I am interested in, but I need the pullback to look a little bit more healthy before I do take any opportunities. Anywho, where was we? What's up, Ivan? Good morning. Did I say? Yeah, ready to say good morning, didn't I? What's up, CS Integrated? Hope you're doing good. DXY, yeah, DXY, I'm pretty neutral on DXY. Yeah, until we kind of make that move outside the range, there's not much to speak on. Apart from, again, if you're looking to call the highs, call the lows, I think there's some lovely trades there. Remember, you said you were in some longs around here somewhere. So yeah, it's a bit of a sticky one because I remember you mentioned yesterday you're looking to see if price can break through 98.5. At the moment, not looking likely. Of course, that could change, but like I said earlier in the stream, I got a feeling that price is probably waiting for NFP on Friday to get a breakout. Of course, whether that's up or down, we'll have to wait and see. But I feel like we're probably waiting for NFP to actually use that as a catalyst to get the breakout. So between now and then, you might see a bit of slow price action, price respecting highs, maybe price making its way back into support potentially. But at the moment, difficult to say what USD is going to do in the long run whilst we're in the range. If we can see some healthy breakouts this week, then things do become a little bit clearer. But as of now, still respecting the highs and still looking pretty flat. Morning, Yusuf. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. What's up, Az? Welcome to the stream. Yes, Pound CHF. We shall take a look. Follow the trend. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing good. Got in on Pound Aussie. Okay, bottom of the range. Target 2.095. Okay, nice. We can take a look at Pound Aussie as well. It closed when it broke 90.5. Now just waiting. Okay. Yeah, DXY's been all over the place. Hey, what's up, Bashi, my man? I hope you're doing good. Appreciate the message. Yeah, guys, if you guys are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the stream or the channel. Yeah, hit the bell. Does really help out. And of course, drop any questions, queries, charts you want me to take a look at. Let me know. Where was I? Currently bearish on the DXY or bullish, or just waiting for the break of the range? Yeah, waiting for the break of the range. I'm not really bearish, bullish. Again, I do actually kind of expect price to break lower just because of the wicks and the rejection we've seen on the weekly chart. That really does kind of show to me that we've tried to rally, but we failed. And with all these wicks, I kind of do expect us to see us break lower. But that kind of analysis is kind of void until we do actually break to the downside, because I say all of that, I'm expecting price to potentially break lower, but if I do see a confident break to the upside, yeah, I'm very much going to be looking to take some buys in the dollar, maybe sell euro dollar or sell pound dollar. So I'm very, very flexible right now. It really depends which way we break out the range. And again, if you're talking about a bit more about intraday price action, I would be bearish because, of course, we are rejecting the resistance there pretty well. I mean, this candle still does close in about 90 minutes time, but it's doing a pretty good job so far. I could probably see some downside maybe for the rest of the day. So yeah, in terms of my swing buy, still very flat, waiting for a bit more information. Anyway, I'll go through some of the requested pairs, but first I do want to share the Perps platform you've been working on. Move that out of the way. I have dropped the link in the chat. It's pinned at the top to the platform, so if you want to check it out, make sure you go check it out. Again, completely free to use, very easy to use as well. Connecting your wallet directly to the platform, any Solana, Ethereum wallets, you can do that straight away. Whether you want to trade on demo environments or live environments, you can do both. So if you want to test out the platform, get a feel for it, you can do that as well. And speaking about that, we do have a competition which we are running. Let me drop the link to the Google form where you can drop your email if you are interested to participate in the challenge again. It's nothing serious, just a bit of fun. Get a feel for the platform, test it out, trade some cryptocurrencies, and of course there will be prizes for the best performing traders as well. So if you are interested and want to take part, let me drop the link. So yeah, if you are interested and want to take part, check out the Google form, drop your email, and of course in terms of the rules, the parameters of the challenge, that will be announced very, very soon as well. But if you haven't checked out the platform, I do have a full video breaking down how to use it, how it works, also how to use the Miko AI in the top left there, which is your kind of like a personal AI agent, which will help with analysis, provide setups, risk assessment, the sentiment of the market, and kind of speed up the analysis and provide some extra information to the markets you're trading. So if you haven't checked that out, I have made some videos which are on the channel at the moment, so go check them out. But yeah, if you're interested with the trading challenge, links in the chat there if you want to participate. Excuse me. Okay, so we'll go through pound CHF. We'll take a look at that for AS, and we'll take a look at pound Aussie as well. What's up, D-Mart? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, close DXY long position, all good. 9 to long DXY of my initial position, use demo account. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it was a nice trade back to the highs. It would have been nice if the price, of course, made the breakout, but I mean, we still could, but of course, we're struggling at the moment. And yeah, I think that's good management on the position, really, because price could, of course, drop pretty easily from there, and don't want to be in a position where you've entered really well down at the lows just for price to come back down there again, especially when we're seeing such strong signs of rejection. But yeah, I think it's just a ticking time bomb really now with DXY. Pound CHF, so I haven't really been focusing too much on pound CHF personally. It's not really a pair on the watch list for me. I do think longer term, a lot of the CHF pairs are going to make some nice runs to the upside, but it looks like it's a bit too early to be speaking about that. Pound CHF, I would still say, is a very flat market. It is somewhat bearish, but for the past kind of couple of years, 3 years, we haven't actually gone anywhere. There's very significant support below us, which I wouldn't be surprised if we're coming back to retest again, because we keep forming these lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 over there as well. So we keep seeing these kind of rallies, but they don't really result to much. And price is making its way back down again. So in terms of a swing bias, I would be looking for price to return back to support eventually. Then maybe from there you might see another strong reaction. We are pretty consistent with the lower highs here as well. We are quite corrective, so it's not something I'm getting too excited about. If this trend was kind of free flowing, see some nice pullbacks, some momentum, I would be happy to look for another pullback within that. But we are really corrective, really flat here. Broke to the downside, but not by much though. I would suggest the pullback to this area probably would be the better place for a short. That way you're kind of looking to short closer to the extremes of the trend. And if price does break this, you know that, okay, perhaps we are going to break to the upside. I probably was in the wrong direction. So stops above here would have been a really safe place to try and take full advantage of that buyer. So yeah, for pound CHF, I would wait for a deep pullback back into an area like this. Nice supply zone, of course, spat out a lot of momentum there. That would be a nice place for a short. Trendline confidence providing some nice support there as well. So pound CHF, I would be bearish, especially if you're looking at more of like an intra-week bias. If you're looking to try and hold the trade for like a day or two, I think that's a sensible trade there. We've just cleared some lows here, but I wouldn't really be looking to short straight away, seeing how corrective we are. The fact that we're just taking up the lows, more or less coming to a strong area of demand as well. Not really an area which I'll be happy to sell from, but let's say if we do get that bigger pullback back into this level, reject well, I would be happy to sell from there. And again, nothing crazy, even just the push back to the prior low will look like a really nice trade, especially if you position yourself well. So pound CHF, I would be bearish for now. Not my favorite pair, I have to say. But in terms of opportunity, that's the best I can see. 1.08300 around there. I think that'll be a smart place for a short. Let's take a look at pound Aussie. Follow the trend, said you're in a long position there. Okay, I got into a GA bottom of the range, target 2.095 to 2.1. So that would be there, 2.1 there. So basically the high, and the bottom of the range, 2.05. So that's around there. So yeah, price has made its way to the low of the range. So if you're looking to buy, this is the place for it. As we can see, support, and of course, as we can see, resistance. So yeah, basically looking just to continue the range. And in terms of location for entry, I agree. In terms of targets, I agree as well. In terms of the entry itself, I do think it's a little bit early, just in taking context of the market as well. But let's say if your stop loss is here, you're giving yourself a decent amount of room. I think you're positioned well for it. Personally, I would wait to see if price can kind of maybe consolidate a little bit, start to see some more momentum to the upside, and then that would be enough for me to take a trade, just because I don't really want to be the first person to get in as soon as price gets there. Just because if price wants to have a wick and break slightly below, I'm a bit more vulnerable to that. Again, it's not necessarily wrong to do that. It just means, you know, you're a little bit more exposed than the person who gets in a little bit later. But then the caveat to that is, if price does have a quick reaction, you might miss that trade as well. So, you know, getting first allows you to take advantage of that if that was the case. But in terms of the location, nothing to critique there. You know, if you're going to get involved with the range, buying as low as possible is basically the way to go, really, if you want to maximize your profits. And you've pretty much done that in terms of location, and targets, of course, back at the high. It's a pretty big range though, so you know, you don't want to be caught in a situation where price, you know, sees a swing halfway or 3/4 of the way just to come back down again. So I would advise some type of management plan of the trade, because it is a pretty big swing. And of course, if it does hit the high of the range, you're probably looking at a decent return, but there are obstacles. And sometimes you don't always see the full swing of the range. You know, if you look back over here, really nice rejection. You know, price got about 80% of the way before we came back down again. Even here as well, you know, before we came back down. And you could even argue over here too. It came about halfway before we came back down. So I would say have some type of management plan, or maybe some areas where you can lock in some gains along the way. I think that will make a lot of sense, just because a lot can happen between here and there. But in terms of just the overview of the trade, I like it. If you're going to trade a range, that's how you would look to do it. You know, I took some buys over here and pretty much the same idea. So yeah, if things develop there, I probably will join you in the trade, to be honest. And of course, if price does break to the downside, I'll be looking for some break and retest in the opposite direction, but we'll speak about that, yeah, if we do see that happen. But yeah, I don't mind that trade at all. Where was I? I missed a long time. If I was bullish until news pops, just my own analysis, I could be wrong. Yeah, of course. I mean, again, that's the same situation with everyone, Yusuf. It's just that analysis. And again, we'll analyze the markets on limited information. So very much we could be wrong. But again, being wrong is part of being a trader as well, and being able to adapt to it as well. Because you can have a bias and be wrong with the bias, but still make a profit. If you can adapt to the situation. There's many times where I'm looking for a buy, but the buy never comes and the sell potentially comes, and then I take advantage. I mean, a good example was actually pound Aussie. I was actually waiting for price to break to the downside here. I thought price was going to break support back over here, but it didn't. It gave me a very strong rejection. I hopped into some buys and managed to catch a nice swing back to the high of the range there. But my initial thoughts was actually talking about a breakout, waiting for price to break and retest it and continue lower. So in hindsight, my bias was actually wrong at the time, but I still left with a profit. And of course, yeah, there'll be times where it's the other way around as well, but you don't want to be too stubborn with a direction. As long as you can give yourself the opportunity to see the price in a different light, and not too stubborn in one way, I think that's a very strong skill as a trader. Bias is one thing, but actually taking a trade is a different thing altogether. Yes, we can take a look at Euro and GU, no problem. I'm in GU buys and UJ shorts. Okay, interesting. So bearish on the USD. We can definitely take a look. Okay, stop loss is quite far down. Nice, a lot of room with stop. Okay, good. Yeah, if you have a lot of room with stop loss, that's good, because essentially with G8, you want price to stay above support. If you're seeing price starting to break to the downside, no matter how good your entry is or whatever, you want to be out that position, because that support is not holding, the range is not doing its job anymore. So if you give yourself enough room with the stop loss, you don't really have to be too concerned with entry, especially being the first one or the second one or whatever into the market, like I was mentioning earlier. If you give yourself some decent room, you're just looking for that level to hold, essentially. It's just a long swing on GA targeted highs, which is the liquidity there, and Aussie being pretty bearish overall. Yeah, I agree. As long as that range continues, the trade has a very strong leg to stand on. Okay, so we'll go through Euro, GU, and UJ. Everyone, it happens with me every time. Right about the direction, but failed execution. Well, the thing about that is, if you're right about direction but failed execution, it's not that difficult to fix, because if you can get direction right more often than not, it means they do have a good understanding for the market, because that's a skill set in itself. In terms of execution, you can just kind of work backwards from what you're doing wrong. So if you're getting to the market too early, so potentially, let's say if your direction was for the market to go up, from here, but let's say you entered too early and you got stopped out. This was your entry, this was your stop loss, and then you got stopped out, but market did continue. Well, then you can, in terms of that, and of course, this is not just one trade. This is like if you analyze the past 50 trades or even more. If you're seeing this happen a lot, well, then prepare yourself to get in a little bit later. Instead of taking the first entry confirmation, take the second or the third, or whatever confluences you're looking at. Them looking at those same confluences lower down can help with that as well. Or just be prepared to look for re-entries. If you do get stopped out, don't be discouraged. If you know that your bias is right more than it's wrong, be prepared to take that second entry signal that does form. Of course, you're not going to pick the bottom every time or pick the low every time. But if you do get stopped out early, as long as the analysis is still valid in your eyes, still look for those re-entries, especially if you're trading with a positive risk to reward, because you'll make back the loss and probably more as well. So if you're entering too early, just look for confirmations later on. It's as simple as that most of the time. Or just look for re-entries and don't be discouraged. If you're entering too late, then of course do the exact opposite. Be a little bit more, be less, be a bit more confident with the entries and get in a bit earlier, which is probably being a bit more aggressive with your trades. And again, this is something you experiment with. You're not going to solve it overnight. And if it's a situation where potentially you're not getting in at all, then maybe it could be a strategy issue in terms of how you enter your trades. You might want to experiment with that. Like, look back at those moves that you've missed, and look how could you potentially take advantage of them. Is it some breakout opportunities? Is it some break and retest opportunities? Is it some counter trend line break opportunities? Whatever it is. Look back. You've seen some reoccurring patterns. Well, potentially you could try and add those to your strategy, to your trading plan. And a lot of trading is working backwards, especially when you've got a good sample size of your data. It's just working backwards and tweaking things, really. You're not reinventing the wheel, but if you're entering too early, look to enter a little bit later. If you're entering too late, look to enter a little bit earlier. And if there's issues with your targets, if you're getting out too early, hold on a little bit longer in the future, and of course vice versa as well. But of course, you need to have a decent sample size. I'm not talking 2, 3, 4 trades, but if you can look at 50 trades and see some reoccurring patterns, there's a lot of information to take there. Anyway, let's go through euro and pound. So Euro, strong rejection of the high yesterday. not much to take apart from we're just continuing to range here. Really strong rejection of resistance there. We did well to reject that. More or less coming back into support, not quite the lows of the range. If I draw kind of a box with that wick there, you can kind of see we're not quite there yet. So more or less we are rejecting support. The market's not perfect, but yeah, if I was looking to buy Euro USD, I would want it to be a little bit deeper, perhaps wicking into that level in a bit more of a precise manner there. So I would want price to be a little bit lower, but hey, when we're in a range, stuff like this happens. So in terms of Euro, again, don't really have much to say about this one apart from waiting for price to make a move back into lows or move back into highs and looking for opportunities in those areas, whether you're looking for breakouts or retests. That's essentially where I want my focus to be. As of now, we're not really doing any of that. Yes, we've formed some type of double bottom here and we're reacting really bullish, but I wouldn't look to follow that. Number one, it would be too late entering now. Number two, it's just not quite the lows yet either, so I wouldn't be looking to entertain that. So Euro USD, I don't really have much to say apart from wait for price to approach the lows and the highs of the range. And then of course we can discuss whether we're looking at breakouts or we're looking at retests. But right now, Euro just fluctuating, and again, the aim of the game is still looking to buy low and sell high. In terms of pound USD, with this one, I really like what price is doing, to be honest. Really nice retest of the low of the range. You've got support once over there, second over there. Didn't quite come and test it over here, but well and truly we have rejected it very well. Looked at one point we're breaking through to perhaps continue. Price did manage to close back above in the next candle, and then the last candle which closed really had some emphasis on that wick to the downside and closed really strongly to the upside there. So this looks to me that price has tried to clear the level but essentially failed, and the buyers are really stepping back in with some force. So as long as we don't go and break the low now, I do expect us to rally back into resistance at 1.355, and we'll go from there because we could potentially come right back down again. But yeah, pound USD to me rejecting support very well. Equally kind of how DXY is rejecting resistance really well. I think they're in sync, to be honest. DXY respecting resistance might probably make its way back down to the low of the range. Pound USD rejecting support, probably going to make its way back to the upper end of the range, back to resistance. So yeah, that's all I'm seeing really with pound USD. You said you're short on pound USD, Yusuf? No, you're long on, you short UJ. Okay, misread that. Yeah, you're short UJ, long pound USD. So yeah, I like the long to pound USD position very well. Really nice wick to the downside there on the hourly chart, and a really strong close. Momentum looks like it's shifting back with the buy. So yeah, I do agree. Some really nice plays for a long, nice confirmations as well. And I do think there is room for us to move into. So I mean, I'm not too sure what time frame you're buying from, but that could be a nice target, or like an intermediate target to lock in some partials potentially. And of course, highs up there could be a nice target as well. But yeah, from what I'm seeing, buys make the most sense here for pound. And in terms of dollar yen, okay, dollar yen, I like it as well. Price rallied to the highs, really aggressive wick rejection there. I really like that wick there, which just closed. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing. So yeah, it looks to me that UJ basically doing what GU is doing, just in the opposite way. Price is rejecting resistance whilst pound USD is rejecting support. Of course, they're kind of still coming from the same idea in terms of USD being weak. If USD is weak, you'll probably see both of these trades play out, UJ falling and pound USD rising. But yeah, prices come back to resistance, try to rally through. I really like the wick this morning because any early sellers who would have some stops above the highs here would be liquidated and taken out of their positions. And now perhaps we could see price make the move down. But yeah, for dollar yen, now if we are going to reject the highs, then naturally expecting a push back into the lows. Maybe this could be like a nice intermediate target as well for the trade. But yeah, if this really does get going, we could see a push all the way back down there. Hourly chart, yeah, really nice wick on the hourly chart as well. So yeah, simple, just range continuation, not trying to overcomplicate things. How we test the highs here? Looks like we have tested the highs there as well. Yeah, it's a really nice confluence adding to that trade there too. So yeah, UJ shorts, I quite like what I'm seeing there. I quite like what I'm seeing. And of course, taking into consideration where the DXY is rejecting as well, I think the synchronicity between them looks really good. So yeah, UJ shorts, GU buys, I like it. Of course, they do, correlate with one another. So it will be a situation where both trades probably work or both trades probably fail, which is not necessarily bad, especially if you manage your risk as equivalent of taking losses back to back or wins back to back. And if as long as you're not you're betting the farm, you should be able to stomach that. Okay, so we'll take a look at big bearish red candle closing deep below the range will make me close. Okay, yeah, of course. If price does clear the range low, that will be time to get out of there. But I can see buyers stepping in with 1 hour and 4 hour candle closure, bullish engulfing. Yeah, of course I saw the bullish engulfing as well. I mean, it's a good confluence for the entry as well. But essentially, you're betting on that level holding. So yeah, as long as price doesn't end up closing below, you're looking good. LFTJ, yes, gold train is definitely left the station without me just waiting for the retest. Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world because it looks like we are breaking out. Yep, Kelly, we can take a look at silver and gold as well. No problem, follow the trend, happy to help. So yeah, it looks like gold has left the station, but again, the thing about trading, there's always the next opportunity. There's so many times over my trading career where, I think that price has left me behind, and yeah, it has left me behind, but there's always another opportunity the next week, the next month, the next day potentially. So, it might leave you behind, but it might present a really good opportunity, potentially even better than the one you missed. And it's just about staying ready for that. But yeah, we have seen a breakout and price is seeing some nice momentum. It would be nice to already be in the position, but I say keep an eye because I think gold still has the potential to really explode. We've only just seen the start of it, I think. Unless we come falling back down aggressively and momentum fails, of course, I'll look to probably change my bias there. But right now I'm seeing healthy momentum and we just cleared the high. So 3,600, my next big target, next big psychological level for gold. I do think that's where we probably could see price trading the next week or two. Probably even less, actually. But in terms of the next opportunity for gold, I quite like this range here. Nice area of demand, brief pause as we were testing the high. Really commanding candle breaking to the upside. So if price could be kind enough to come back and retest it, I think that's a smart place for a buy. Targets back at the highs and maybe some trading stops just to see how far we can go. But yeah, of course, gold really bullish. I think when price action is this bullish and in this manner, you should want to keep your trading very, very simple. There's no need to overcomplicate things. A lot of people will be talking about, okay, well, all-time highs, it's time to short. Price has gone too far, which is true to a degree, but if you understand gold for what it is, this could rally, another quite a lot before it does take a dive. And of course, a good example of that is exactly what we were doing before this range. People were saying price was overextended after this move here. And of course, it was overextended, but we still continued up regardless. And we continued up for another year pretty much. So, gold can still keep flying. So as a retail trader, you don't want to overcomplicate it. Just trade what's in front of you, which is a very, very bullish market. Until we see some red flags and some signs to not trade it, of course. But for now, if we can get a nice pullback into the zone, you're looking at buys and just and keep taking it back to highs and trading stops, I would say. Of course, target's a bit difficult to come by because there's not much to target up here, but I think a trading stop is the best way to manage it. Still capitalize on a big trade if it does happen, whilst protecting your downside at the same time. So I would suggest that. And as for silver, same situation occurs here as well. Not as bullish as gold, especially in hindsight, especially looking back. We have been quite corrective, but this is still a pretty fierce trend, to be honest, and it has still been going pretty well. And we've just seen some new momentum come into the market. So Again, if you can see another pullback, I've highlighted a couple of zones which I like the look of, 39.8, 39 on the dot pretty much. Pullbacks into those zones I do like the look of, and then I would expect price to, again, come back to highs, and then we can go further. Longer term, I'm still looking at push to 50 for silver, which is all the way up there, so I still do expect a lot more upside in the coming future. And of course, I'm not necessarily looking to try and bank on that in one move. It would be nice if it happened, but yeah, I'm just looking to see if I can get in a trade, start trading stops, see how far we can take it. But yeah, I do need some retracement. So in terms of gold, silver, very, very bullish. Just looking for opportunities on the pullback, not trying to overcomplicate things here. No problem. Yusuf, happy to help. Also waiting for a gold pullback on the support level of 50-minute. Okay. I think probably referencing the same area. Actually, okay, you're talking about this level here, I assume. If not, let me know. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense as well. I think, excuse me, voice being a bit croaky the past few days. Yeah, in terms of buying on the 50-minute chart here, I think that's a good trade for an intraday perspective, because I would say now price is starting to consolidate and run out a bit of steam. Not necessarily that I expect price to drop, but it could be a situation where we consolidate maybe for, I don't know, a day or two, and then we explode either to the upside or might explode lower, have a bigger pullback before we do continue. But if you're looking for opportunities in this area, there is only one place for it, especially if you're looking to buy, and that will be back at support, which I think this is the area which you're referencing. So yeah, let's say if price does get there again, show some nice rejections, maybe a nice wick through the zone. Simply a pushback to resistance makes the most sense. Then if you can catch a breakout, then you could be looking at, again, another nice move, and hopefully a lot more upside after that. And of course, if we don't see that happen and price does start to reject resistance, you can either close the trade, move stops to break even, take partial, however you want to manage it. But that would be a sign to potentially be a bit careful with that position. But gold, yeah, looking very bullish. No need to overcomplicate it. If you're intraday, then yeah, I would keep an eye on that level 35.28, 35.30, we can call it. I think that's definitely an area to keep an eye on, and where we can swing to the upside for a bit more of a swing bias, hourly, 4-hour chart. This is an area which I would pay a bit more attention to. And again, I'm not too surprised even if we don't see a pullback there. I won't be surprised if we kind of just continue from where we're at, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, very, very bullish. Of course, STXY is hinting at some weakness at the moment as well. Potentially move back to the low of the range, so that could help gold rally too. And of course, if you do break to the downside, that's going to really help gold rally. But we shall see. We're not quite there yet. Like I said, I think we're still probably waiting for NFP to get the ball rolling there. Gold on the 15 has created a breakout of a small downwards channel. It created downwards channel. I'm not seeing the downwards channel you're mentioning. Follow the trend. Has created a breakout of a small downwards channel. It created might look to retest about 35.32. Around there. And expecting this pump to 35.50, which of course the next big psychological level. Yeah, I'm not too sure about a retest of that. I mean, like I said, the way I see it, price is kind of ranging here. More or less equal highs, more or less equal lows. So if I'm looking for a buy, I mean, I know you said 35.32. I'll be more looking at 35.30, 35.29, which is only slightly a little bit below. But basically looking at the same idea really, but probably in a different light. The way I see it, price is kind of consolidating to me. I'm not really seeing much of a downwards channel. Not to say it's incorrect, just I'm not quite seeing that. And yeah, I'm more looking at support, resistance, price flat in between the two. If you can reject support well, should see at least a pushback to resistance, and then maybe we see a breakout. And then we'll go from there. Matteo, is there too much risk to short it down to micro support? Not necessarily, no. It's only risky if you don't manage it well. Let's say if you did get short here and had a stop loss here. Again, it is an aggressive trade, but aggressive doesn't always equal risk. Aggressive just means you're going against the grain. If momentum is in one way and you're going against that momentum, it's aggressive. A risky trade just means that you're risking too much. That's kind of my view on it. Aggressive trades, sometimes I take them in certain situations. I probably wouldn't be looking to short gold. That's a bit too aggressive for me, because this is bullish on pretty much all time frames, all the major ones as well. There's a lot of momentum in the market, so it is quite aggressive, but it is ranging. So in this format, it would make sense. Let's say if we weren't ranging and price was just trending to the upside like this, then yeah, I would say that's way too aggressive. That's way too aggressive because you're just shorting flat out a really bullish trend. If you're shorting from here, of course, you're already seeing that price is moving quite well down, but you've already got resistance to back you up, so it makes sense to short from there. You've already got some rejection, price is rejecting it again, it makes sense to short. Yes, it's still an aggressive trade because you're going against the trend, but you've got some backing there, so it does make sense. And yeah, let's say if price was to return back to that level and reject it again, I still think that's a decent trade to partake in. But also what I would suggest is be prepared to close out early. When you are taking aggressive trades, be prepared to close the trade early, because if you are going against the tide, against the main trend, that trend can kick in at any point in time and see some strength. So if you're in the trade, things are going well, but suddenly you're seeing some wicks, strong closures against you, be prepared to run. Don't want to hold that position because you don't have much ground supporting you. If you're in favor of the trend, you can be a bit more lenient with your trades and give yourself a bit more room because you're expecting naturally that higher time frame trend to kick in. But in this case where you don't have that with you and you're going up against it, be prepared to close early. If momentum shifting against you, you don't really want to kind of hold your ground and see if you can take gold head on, because it probably won't end too well. So yeah, I don't think it's too risky trade. As long as you're managing risk well, I see it as a good position. As long as you're trading from a healthy location, which I would agree that level would be. And as long as you're on your toes in terms of the management. If things are not looking good, get out of there. If things are looking good, you can hold it to support. A tiny bullish flag. Okay. Again, not quite seeing that, but maybe you're referring to something like this. Yeah, I can kind of see that, but yeah, I see it as more as a flag, more as a range, but I can see the logic there if that's kind of what you're talking about. It's a very steep one. But again, that's the beauty of price action as well. You could be looking at the same thing, but have two different patterns to it. Essentially, you're talking about the same thing. But yeah, just because how flat it is, I'll just kind of chalk that to a range and move from there. There's a lot of risk of all looking for shorts. Better only look for buys. Yeah, I agree. In this scenario, I'll only look for buys for gold as well. But if you're looking to short, just be on your toes. You don't want to stay in that trade too long. An eclipse, how do you come up with 35.50? Because I did too. Just because of the next psychological level. There's nothing special about 35.50 because there's no market structure here or all-time highs. Support, follow the trend, mentioned it as well. But yeah, when price is at all-time highs or all-time lows, the only reference point I have beyond that is psychological levels. So round numbers, potentially numbers that end in 5 as well, but mostly kind of just big round numbers, 3550, 3600, 3750, 3700. Of course, you got big ones like 4K, 3K, 5K. Those are big ones. But yeah, just kind of round numbers is what my interest is. Maybe you might have drawn like a Fibonacci extension level as well. Let's say a low to high. And then you might have added the minus 0.27. In this case, it's slightly above it, but maybe you have that as a target as well to work with. But I prefer just to keep the psychological levels in view. In all honesty, I wouldn't exit a trade just because it gets to a psychological level. I would just be trading stops really. Because at all-time highs, you never know how far price could go, especially in a market like gold and in an environment we are in right now where things are very bullish. We could explode to 3,700 for all we know. So I think trading stops is probably the best way to manage it, but you can keep track of those psychological levels, maybe book partials or yeah, of anything of that nature really. But I'll just trail stops and see how far I can take it. Yusuf, the support level I'm looking for is 3508. 3508. Okay, looking for. Okay, so you're more talking about this zone here. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I'm looking at kind of on the 4-hour hourly chart, but 50 makes sense as well. You're kind of paying attention to this area here. Yeah, I think that's a smart place for a buy as well. Anywhere within this area is kind of your demand zone. Of course, if you're talking more about support, you'd focus here because that's of course prior resistance, price broke through, so now it's turned support. But in terms of demand, it's basically anywhere within that area. But yeah, you can focus your efforts more so at the top of the range. But yeah, if price gets there, I think that's definitely an area to keep an eye on and a place where to buy from. And hopefully we can see price continue back to highs. No problem, Mateo. Great insight, makes perfect sense. Beautiful to hear. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to smash the like button. It does really help out. I do really appreciate everyone who has liked so far. Subscribe to the channel as well, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Feel free to support the channel further, guys. I do have memberships below, which has some added perks, members only videos as well. So if you want to check it out, feel free to do so. Jovi, hope I'm saying that correctly. Would you recommend trading more for beginner Forex? Yeah, I would so. I mean, when I was a beginner, I was trading way more than 3, probably like 20. I mean, it depends on the time frames you're looking at. If you're looking at the 5-minute chart, then no, because that's just way too much information. I was mainly trading the hourly and the 4-hour chart, so I could afford to look at more pairs. To be honest, I was looking at too many. But yeah, if you're trading a higher time frame, then you can afford to look at more. If you're looking at the 50-minute chart, then I'd say I would cap it to like 5 or 6, to be honest. But like a 4-hour time frame, you can get away with 10 plus. Because especially as a beginner, you're here to learn and pick up information. You're not necessarily here to be optimal. You're here to learn and gain experience, gain information. Yeah, mainly gain experience really. And as you kind of understand the strategy and understand how you want to approach the market, then you can look at something a bit more optimal. So whatever time frames you're on, you can either increase it or decrease it from there, and you kind of get a natural feel to it. So yeah, it depends on the time frames you're on. Lower time frames, yeah, you can keep it to 3. Maybe if you're like on the 5-minute chart. If you're a bit more swing, then you're probably looking more towards about 10, just to get a feel, experience with different markets, actively trade, take wins, take losses, and learn on the go. Follow the trend. I can't believe once I started trading for my very first time. 1,800, 2,000, yeah. I wish I could have just kept buying. Yeah, again, hindsight is a wonderful thing. I mean, when I first started trading, I can't remember the price of gold, but I started trading in 2017. And in 2017, price was around here, 1,200. So yeah, I mean, I could have built a whole career just on actively buying gold, really. Of course, there was a bit of consolidation there, but full margin, buying gold quite a lot. Could have built a whole career off that. And the funny thing is, we say that now in 2025, come back in 2030, I reckon we're probably up there somewhere. So I think there's still a lot of buying to be done, to be honest. There's still a lot of buying to be done. But yeah, there has been some big moves recently. Is Zentrix like Binance? How does it work? It's similar, but Zentrix is on a completely decentralized and it's on Solana blockchain, whereas Binance is centralized. So it's similar in terms of allows you to trade perps, allows you to buy and sell cryptocurrencies. In the future, we'll be allowed to trade FX, indices, commodities, all on our perps platform as well. But Zentrix, we do specialize in AI tools as well, so that's a kind of a different component to Zentrix. It's kind of a big umbrella, but part of Zentrix is allowing you to trade perps on our platform. Like I said, cryptocurrencies, but in the future, other markets as well. But everything is decentralized. So in terms of Binance, with like added restrictions and checks and having to request to deposit or request withdrawals, because everything's decentralized, everything's quick, easy, fast, and there's no kind of restriction in that regard. Everything's settled instantly. So once you pretty much close a winning trade, you can withdraw the profit straight into your wallet. Very quick and easy. But the AI side of things, we're working on various tools to help retail traders analyze and trade the market, whether AI bots to actually trade the market for you, or building indicators, strategies as well, and AI agents to help with analysis, fundamental analysis, risk assessment, risk management, and cryptocurrencies as well. So there's a lot of different umbrellas on the Zentrix. Yes, there's a degree similar to Binance, but it's on a decentralized exchange. So similar, but less restrictions and a bit more freedom. I will drop the link actually to the Telegram for Zentrix, which has more information and updates regarding the project. So if you're interested, I would recommend to check that out. Just 1 second. So yeah, if you're interested, there's the Telegram link. There's just updates for the community there. Euro yen on the 15-minute chart. Okay, we can have a look. No problem. 2017, no way. Started 2018 actually. Almost similar. Yeah. 2030, we're investing in corn and sugar. Yeah, that would be interesting to see what's happening in 2030. It's actually not too far away, man. Almost in 2026. Time flies. LFTJ, I start analyzing gold with you price of 1616. Wow. Even December 24 signs. Yeah. I mean, again, that's a lot of trading, not just gold, and trading in general. And you look back at charts, you're like, okay, if I just held euro dollar from parity, I'd be in a lot of profit right now. And then you're like, yeah, it was obvious at the time, but yeah, trading is not as simple as that. You do have a lot of added pressure and other components which will affect your decision making, and then you look back and you're like, it was so clear at the time, why didn't I do that? Yeah, funny stuff. Anyway, euro yen on the 15. Haven't actually looked at the yen pairs yet, but it looks like we're seeing some yen weakness kick into the market, so I'm interested. Of course, I'm still in Aussie yen. Managed to trail my stops on that one. We can take a look in a second. But euro yen is hinting at potentially breaking to the upside, but again, really corrective. Wicks galore as well, so it looks like we are struggling. I'm not completely sold on this just yet. I'm not completely sold on this yet, but I do think naturally the bigger move is still to the upside. I'm looking at the daily chart. And my target for Euro-Yen is still very much this high here, 175. I still do think price can make a move towards that level. So my plan for Euro-Yen is waiting for a break of resistance here and basically looking for the next higher low, something like this. You know, we formed one over here, then a high, then it looks like potentially a new higher low forming. Now I'm waiting for the new high, then hopefully a new higher low, and that's really where I'm looking to try and see if I can find some entries, take it back into resistance up at 175. So I'm very, very bullish on Euro-Yen, but I'm not quite seeing the breakout which I want to the degree I want in terms of momentum or basically just the distance really. I want price to break out and really leave price behind. I really leave that level behind, but it looks like we're really struggling. As for the 15-minute chart, there might be some selling opportunities with how corrective we are looking. I'd probably say it's a bit too early to be looking to sell, just because we are still quite bullish. Looks like we are rejecting the highs pretty well. I would suggest keep an eye on lows here. I think this still could be a very nice area for a buy, because essentially it looks to me that we are ranging. So naturally, if we push back into the low, I do think this is a smart place for a buy. If we do break out of this, then we could be looking at a bearish trend starting to form, and then we can speak more about some shorts, because after all, it does look like we're kind of fading at highs here, and that could potentially start a bit of a bearish trend, maybe even a pushback to support areas around there. So I could see that happening as well. But for now, Euro-Yen still in a very confident uptrend. Momentum is still with the buys with this one. Yes, we're failing at highs, which is why we're kind of waiting to buy a lot deeper down, closer to major support, around 172.656. So I would suggest keep an eye on this. Again, basically just looking to play the range, not really anything super complicated here. And if price does break the support and breaks it well, then we could be looking at this being a new top, and then looking at some pullbacks, perhaps even a retest to continue lower, and maybe we kind of mirror the uptrend on the way back down, but we can speak about that later on. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro-Yen. Okay, so where was I? If I have missed out a pair, if someone requested the pair and I haven't taken a look at it yet, just let me know. Show us in the lower time frame. Let me know which time frame you want to see football facts, and I can take a look at it for you, because lower time frame is a very vague sentence, my man. If there's a particular time frame you want me to look at, let me know. Raphael, oil on the 4-hour chart. Yes, I can take a look. All right, no problem, Bashi. Take care, my man. Have a good one. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for dropping the message. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the content, like, share, subscribe, all of that does really help out. And of course, drop any questions below. But take care, Bashi. Have a good one. So oil, okay, oil, interesting. Really strong move back down. Looks like we're starting to struggle on the weekly chart. As for the daily chart, we're coming back into a very critical level. So if oil's going to rally, I'm looking at it from this level basically. If we can hold this level, I do see some upside. Because if we look to the left, it has proven to be a very significant level of support and resistance in the past. Resistance once, support once, and briefly resistance there as well. But we have, of course, managed to close above. Now you can see prices coming straight back down. Well, if this is a retracement, I do expect us to start finding support very, very quickly. More or less, nice area of demand here. Kickstarted that bullish move. Do have some nice trendline confidence running through the market. I would say this is a pretty aggressive move down, so I would like my pullbacks to be a bit smoother, a bit more corrective. That is a very aggressive candle. But if we can see some rejection form here, momentum shift back with the buyers, I think this is a smart place for a buy because, of course, you're well positioned in reference to that daily level we just mentioned. Of course, today's candle's looking really bearish, but we still have 10 hours left. This could pull back quite a lot, leave a big wick to the downside as well. So yeah, if we are going to find support here, this is the area to do it. If we do end up breaking to the downsides here, breaking through that counter trend line, that is a very bearish signal to me. And at that point, I'll be looking at us continuing lower. So make or break in terms of the buys for me. As of now, let's see what price can do at support / demand here. Reject well. I do think there's room to the upside. Flower is also a lower time frame compared to the weekly. Yeah, that's a good point as well, Yusuf. 4 hours is also a lower time frame as well. I mean, 4 hours is still technically intraday. Believe it or not, doesn't feel like it is, but it is intraday time frame. US crude short on the 15. Yeah, I wouldn't short on the 15. I mean, things are pretty bearish, but I wouldn't short because most of the reasons I just spoke about as to where we're trading, coming back into demand, coming back into this trend line. If we're going to bounce from anywhere, it would be here. Not to say we can't break through, we can do. But if I was going to take a short on the 15, it would be because price makes a move back to an area like this. We are forming lower highs, so there's some consistency there. And if price does make a move there, perhaps we can find another lower high, another move back down. So that would make sense to me. We're back at supply, back at resistance, back in areas where lower highs are likely to form. If I'm going to take a short on the 15, it's because price is probably trading around those areas. Here, though, especially after such a strong move, number one, we're quite overextended. Number two, we're testing multiple areas of support, demand as well. We've got the trend line coming into play, just taking out some key lows here as well. So the odds of us pulling back are quite high. Of course, how far we pull back, we don't know, but I wouldn't suggest this is the best place for a short for oil. So if you're talking more so about here, I agree. Here, no, I think that's more of a place to buy, if anything. But for now, let's see what price can do at this level here. Looking pretty bearish at the moment, so it's going to take some energy for buyers to send this back up again. Gold lower time frame. By lower time frame, I'm just going to go to 15-minute by default. So yeah, on the 15-minute chart, we are quite flat, I would suggest. So if you're talking about some intraday moves, I quite like the longs from this level here. Let's say if price gets there again, wicks through the zone, maybe sees a nice bullish engulfing candle. I think that's a smart place for a buy, and you can see a push to the upper end of the range. If price does have a bigger retracement, there is this level below, which I quite like the look of as well. Brief area of demand, slight consolidation there. We did break to the upside with a really aggressive bullish candle. And I would suggest if price could pull back in towards that area, that would be a smart place for a buy, where we could bounce and see some more upside. So I quite like what I'm seeing here for gold in that regard. But if you're just looking for like a quick trade, not necessarily a scalp, but a trade you in for like no more than an hour or maybe a couple of hours at most, I think buying off the low here, targeting the highs is a great trade. Of course, there is a chance you could catch a breakout. There's a chance you could catch, price reacting well and perhaps rolling over. So I would suggest maybe to lock in some gains there, or at least remove risks to a certain degree, trail stops or whatever. But this would be an area to pay attention to. Yes, gold is still bullish, but we can, clearly quite see how price is struggling to break through that zone. So the way I see it, gold ranging at the moment on the 15, buying low makes the most sense. At least you're in favor of the trend as well. If this does break to the downside, then we can speak more about this zone here, around 35.10, 35.08 for some longs. But yeah, gold's really just focused on the buys for now. Momentum is so strong as well. and who knows how far price could go. And of course, looking at silver too, that's looking really bullish as well. Aussie yen, are we still long? Yes, still long on Aussie yen. I've managed to actually trail stops on that one. Yen is starting to progress quite nicely, so I'm liking what is going on. I don't have a take profit there, by the way. It would be close to the take profit, but I don't have a take profit there. I'm just actively trading stops to see how far we can take it. But I managed to trail stops now to around 96.319 underneath this low. To be honest, I'm probably actually going to trail it below the lows here. It's not much of a difference, but because we're actively creating highs, momentum's picking up. And also because we're about to approach resistance as well, there's a chance we might see a bit of a reaction to the downside, which I don't really want to be caught in. So, yeah, I probably will start to even trade it some more now. But, yeah, really nice momentum has picked up. Things did start off really correctively with this trade, so I was always a little bit not too sure. I mean, I was sure when I was getting into the trade, but then as we became quite corrective, I was like, okay, I need to be careful what happens here because this does look really slow and corrective. Last time it was slow and corrective and pushed to the high of the channel, price did go for a bit of a sell-off. I wouldn't be surprised if we do that again. But, of course, that is trading. There is a bit of, not luck, but just kind of probability with things, because of course you create your own luck, just like you'll take winners and you'll take losers. But trading, especially with technical analysis, it's all probabilities. You could take the same trade 10 times, it could potentially lose 8 times. You could do it again, and you might win 8 times as well. So you just have to play out the numbers and maximize your winners and minimize your losers. But anyway, price has picked up very well. Lovely breakout. And now we're approaching resistance. So the plan for this one is, again, from a higher time frame perspective, we're looking to continue that daily trend. We've gone from very bearish structure, forming lower lows and lower highs on the way down, to now forming higher highs and higher lows. And the whole plan of the trade, the whole thought process of why I got into the trade was looking to catch that next higher low. And it looks to be I have caught that. So as we approach the highs, I'm expecting price to eventually break through them. This is kind of like a longer term target, around 98.5. Again, these are just kind of reference points. I'm not necessarily looking to close the trade when it gets there. I'll let my trading stop loss do that. But yeah, we've gone from bearish structure to now bullish structure. We came back to a nice area of demand as well, where we consolidated. We spat out a lot of momentum. We tested that area as well. So there are a lot of layers kind of backing up this position, and of course, naturally buying at the low of the channel there as well. So now the plan is, can we see a pushback to resistance at 98.5? I mean, the first thing we have to deal with is the high we're approaching, so we do need to break through that. But we are looking pretty good. And if I have a quick look at the yen basket, because that's going to show me what the yen is doing relative to other currencies. If this can break to the downside, which, I mean, we have seen some momentum, but it still looks pretty flat to me. If we can break to the downside here and see price clear the lows, that's when I think my Aussie yen trade will really pick up. Even though it looks pretty decent now, but I think we can really pick up and see a lot more upside and probably a push back to the lows here, which is 61.05. So yeah, I am bearish on the yen. We do have this long-standing trend line, which is keeping us bearish as well, which is helping me out. So as you can see with this trend line, multiple tests of this area, lower high after lower high, and looks like we're just seeing continuation of that. So if the yen basket does break support and continue lower, great. I think we can push to lows, and Aussie yen can keep going. But yeah, I'm still long on Aussie yen, actively trading the stop loss. And yeah, I probably will trade it a little bit more now. I'd probably say Aussie yen is probably one of the better performing yen pairs actually, because if I quickly scope some of the yen pairs, pound yen still quite flat, euro yen still quite flat there as well. I mean, seeing some upside, but still flat. CAD yen's done well. Well, relatively well as well. New Zealand yen, still flat as well, but yeah, climbing higher. And dollar yen stuck at resistance. And Swiss yen a little bit as well. I've seen some nice upside, but still quite corrected. So yeah, I think Aussie yen is probably one of the better ones. So did well to trade the yen against the Aussie. Lighter, my man, what is up? Hope you're doing good. Welcome. Kindly check New Zealand dollar and USDR after requested pairs, no problem. Content Hunter, yes, we can take a look at the Nasdaq as well. I haven't actually gone through any of the indices, so we can take a look at a bunch of them as well. Okay, so NZD USD. So yeah, a little bit annoying with New Zealand dollar, especially after price just missed the high of the channel, because that's kind of where the focus was. We were doing such a good job at respecting the highs, respecting the lows. So essentially looking for price to come back again to the high and see some downside from there. We of course had some nice confluence with this supply zone. So it would have been really nice to see price test those areas together, then react and give us an entry. But of course that was not to be. But nonetheless, it's still an opportunity. If price does get there again, the opportunity is still very much on. It's not like it's invalid now. It's still very much on. And likewise, if you do get to the low of the channel, the buys are still very much on. The only thing I would suggest is that right now we're in the middle of the channel. You can see this dotted line here represents the middle of the channel. That's the one area which I would stay away from. Maybe we do see some upside here, but I wouldn't bank on it. The way I see descending and ascending channels, it just basically ranges back at a slant, at an angle. So I take the same principles from a range to a channel, and basically I will always look to try and sell at the highs and buy at the lows. Or of course, if I want to wait for the breakouts, I can do that as well. But I wouldn't want to be buying or selling in the middle of the range, because that's where the most noise is, that's where the most indecision is. And that's kind of what we got going on here. So I wouldn't bank on anything happening here. But if we do make our way back to the low, or if we do make our way back to the high, sure, I think there's some opportunities to tackle over there. So yeah, I'll just be waiting for price to make a move to resistance or support, or make a breakout. But yeah, not where we're trading right now. In terms of USDZAR, now this one has been interesting. Very choppy, very sideways, but we do have a very nice level of support trading just below us, and that's really where the focus is for USDZAR. I mentioned this I think last week. Didn't quite see the move there. We were looking pretty bearish at one point in time, but price did turn around pretty quickly. Again, I would suggest if we can get there again, this is still a great place for a buy. Again, longer term, I'm still really bearish for USDZAR. Still looking for a push here. I do see us eventually breaking support, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The worst thing to do is to have a bias and be stubborn with that bias even before it's really set up yet. We still have very strong support below us, which could very much give us another push higher. I would argue this is just a big consolidation, really. So yeah, with USDZAR, I was looking just to play the lows and play the highs, really. As we keep bouncing support here, should we revisit and provide some nice healthy rejections, I think that's a smart place to get into a long. Look for some entries, stop loss below the low, and maybe target the highs there. Or if you really want to push the trade, maybe some resistance up there as well. But this would be a nice place for a buy. I know we're respecting a lot of resistance here, but I wouldn't get too excited. It's not really a significant area. More or less in the middle of the range as well. So personally, I would leave it alone. But yeah, get back to support, great. And of course, in terms of the sells, because I did mention I do expect price to get there eventually. If we do see a break of support, then that move is very much on. Then we can speak about some shorts. Of course, all of this will be turned resistance. That could really make for a nice trade for a short as well. But until we get the breakout, I'm not going to really speak too much about that for now. The buys still look really valid. As for NASDAQ, yeah, NASDAQ interesting. I mean, indices in general interesting. Really aggressive moves lower, followed by a really aggressive recovery here. But it looks to me that price should just come back to support to respect it. I would be worried if NASDAQ went and broke through the low and started to push past this low. So let's say if that momentum from yesterday continued and we did something like that. So breaking through the low here and breaking through the low there. Now that would be a signal to say that, okay, we are bearish, at least in terms of this structure. And I would be expecting the NAS to probably see a few more swings before eventually we do continue back to highs. But to me, all it looks like is prices made a move back to support, respected it very well, and this could end up being a really nice double bottom. In terms of buying buying NAS, again, I would say you're a bit late to the party now, because number one, of where we're trading, and yeah, I mean mainly where we're trading. If you're looking to buy double bottom, if you didn't check out my the video I just posted about how to time your entries, this kind of goes back to that. But again, when you're looking to trade double bottom, there's two areas you really want to get involved. Either waiting for price to form the double bottom and wait for us to clear the neckline and then get involved on breakouts or pullbacks afterwards, or look to try and anticipate the actual double bottom itself. So buying right at the low, getting your stop loss right down here, and then taking the buy. You don't really want to get involved in the middle of things like here, because that's just where all the noise is, and that's where you'll probably find a bit more indecision, really. So yeah, and that's kind of where we're trading. If anything, we're coming to an area of supply. If price struggles there could actually be some selling opportunities. So this is not what you want to buy. Of course, since we have left the station a little bit, price has rejected that level very well, and we've made our move. The next opportunity for a buy, I would suggest, is if this momentum continues and starts to break through resistance. Then we can either look for pullbacks of that and then some longs, then attack the highs again, which I think will be the likely outcome here. Like I said, I think this is just another higher low, double bottom, and price is going to trend higher. But yeah, unless you're already in the position from here, I think you're going to have to wait to enter a little bit later. But I'm still bullish on the NASDAQ. Like I said, we didn't break structure here. We're still respecting it. So targets back at the highs still make sense to me. I think price could potentially go further as well. I do think that bigger retracement will come soon at some point, but yeah, not really seeing the signs for it just yet. Yusuf, thoughts on GJ? Okay. Anything changed for you? Pound is getting a bit strong. Yeah, we can take a look at GJ. Lighten, no problem. Happy to help. No problem. Happy to help. Content Hunter, no problem. The middle point on No Man's Land, just buy some demo. Yeah, that's a good point as well, actually. CS, if you are kind of bored and you do have that urge to take a trade, kind of any trade that you kind of look at and you got an impulse to trade, but you know that's not quite following your plan or fitting your strategy quite well, stick it on a demo account. That way you scratch the itch, and also you can learn as well, because you can track the progress of the demo account. Of course, to a degree, because it is a demo account, so you're going to have, in terms of the management, lot sizes, you might be a little bit relaxed about that, so you do have to take that into consideration. But the idea of the trade, buy, sell, where your stop losses, where your targets are, you can collect a good sample size and kind of monitor, okay, is this something I should probably incorporate in my main trading plan and actually look to trade, or is it just a load of nonsense and I should just stick to keeping it on a demo account? You can find that out as well. But yeah, that's a good point, CS. Your top watch list, bro, today. Good question. What's the top of my watch list? I'll probably say it's probably between three: dollar CAD, gold, and silver. We can quickly go through them, although gold is pretty much what we were saying before, and silver the same reason as well. But we can quickly scan over them. But again, I'm more of a swing trader, so I don't really have like a top for the day. It's more so for the week, coming into the week. And that kind of changes by the week, really. Maybe if things happen during the week, it could change again. But more so, I'm looking at kind of what's the trade for the week. That's more so what I'm interested in, because I'm not really on like a 15-minute chart. Which pairs are consolidating right now? Quite a lot of them. Again, in terms of finding that out, just flick through the charts. Anything that looks like this is consolidating, really. Dollar yen would be a good example. Euro dollar would be a good example. Dollar CHF maybe to a degree. thinking off the top of my head. Aussie CAD would be a good example as well. But yeah, any market that looks like this, that's consolidating. But those are a few to keep an eye on. Okay, let's take a look at GJ. Yeah, nothing's really changed for GJ for me, Yusuf. Nothing's really changed because nothing's changed with the market structure. Yes, pound's a bit strong, which is great, but it's not doing anything or trading anywhere significant. For pound, for my verdict to change or me to get excited about this one, we need to break, actual market structure, which is, breaking the highs here. That's something new, that's something different, that's something I can use to my advantage. Or even a push back to support, that's something I can use as well, because if price rejects well, there could be some nice buys off that low again, just like we did over here and just like we did over there. So this is really what I'm looking at for GJ in terms of a bias, in terms of like a trading opportunity. Price breaking the highs. I'm not so concerned with the sells, to be honest, especially because of how we've been rejecting it. So I'm kind of putting that to one side. But in terms of a bullish bias, which I kind of do have for the yen pairs, I do see yen going lower. I am trading Aussie yen to the upside. I do think that can continue to trend. I do think weakness in the yen will eventually come out to play here. Haven't really seen it against pound just yet. But I do think that'll be the bigger move. So if price does make its move back to support, I would be happy from buying there. And likewise, if you do break resistance, and not only would it be that resistance, it would be this high here as well. I think then we can talk about a move back to the highs there in a similar light to what Euro Yen did early in the year. So yeah, nothing's really changed. Nothing's really changed. Some intraday bullishness is just something I'll chalk to the game in terms of just fluctuation. Because we're looking bullish now, right now. Come back tomorrow, we could be looking just as bearish and trading at support again. So there's not a lot to read here at all. Yeah, not a lot to read here. This is just pure noise to me. Pure noise. Difficult to trade that and decipher that price action, really. So yeah, GJ, for me to change anything and start to look for opportunities, we need to clear the high or the low. If we don't do that, then I kind of just look at this as a big range. And again, I feel like with NFP and Friday, a lot of markets might be waiting for that to actually get the ball rolling. And that's another good example for you, Hassan, of a range of a market that's consolidating, pound yen. That is consolidation there for you. But yeah, in terms of my watch list, like I said, gold and silver on the watch list for the same reason. Momentum, looking for opportunities for a pullback into the zone for a buy. Again, they're going to take some more aggressive trades, aggressive pullbacks with this one. Don't have to necessarily wait for such a deep pullback. I was looking for a retest. I still am looking for the retest of this high here. But I'm not too sure if price will be bearish enough to actually see a pullback to actually come back and test that zone. So it's a situation where if price is very bullish and we just about see a dip to come back and test this area, then I see a nice bullish confirmation, a strong candle close. I'll be all over that in terms of a buy. If we do have a complex pullback and a deeper one, then yeah, I will keep an eye on the retest there as well. But either opportunity looks really good to me, and I like the longs. In terms of silver, same idea as well. A really bullish market, trending well to the upside. You can see you got a nice area of demand there, really nice push to the upside, nice area of demand there, nice push to the upside there as well. This is really where I'm focusing on for some longs. Really where I'm focusing on for some longs. Basically, same ideas as gold. You got yourself a long-term uptrend at play, which looks like it's continuing. Newfound momentum there as well. Pullbacks into those areas is what I'm keeping an eye on. So gold longs, silver longs. Again, this is not necessarily for the day. I don't expect this to form today. But maybe this week we could see that happen. And I know today's already Wednesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, especially for NFP and Friday, we could see that set up potentially, if not, maybe early next week. I mean, even if that doesn't happen, I could see a world where we do break to the upside like this, and then this becomes an area of interest for a buy, a pullback into this area. So it will continue as we go along. If we don't see the deeper pullback, then as price creates new structure, those new areas will be my focus as well. So it's not a situation where if price just continues higher, I just still look for this. I won't be looking for that anymore if we do continue higher, and I'll be focused on new levels as we create them. And then for dollar CAD, I quite like the shorts as well. Really nice supply over the past few days. Of course, you had the strong drop over there, another one over there as well, creating some nice bearish structure. So I quite like the look of this, and I quite like looking the idea of taking another short back into the lows. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Back into the lows. But yeah, we've had a pullback, which I'm not the biggest fan of. To be honest, because this looks more like a bowl shape pattern, and bowl shapes don't represent pullbacks. They more represent reversals. You can see you're going from a lot of momentum to slowing down, slowing some type of bottom, then eventually picking up momentum. These kind of rounded shapes are more for like reversals, for corrections and pullbacks. You want to see something that resembles a bit more like this. Something with a strong move down. Doesn't have to be crazy strength, but some aggression, and then like a slow corrective push up. So yeah, that does put me off the trade a little bit, but we could still improve that. We could still become quite corrective on the way up to this zone before selling off, but I'll be careful. I'll be looking for quality over quantity. But yeah, dollar CAD shorts is also something I'm looking to take as well. So those three, I would say, at the top of my watch list. I did miss New Zealand CAD shorts earlier this week, actually. I mean, to be honest, if I did take the trade, I've only been a little bit of profit. But actually, no, I'll be probably stopped out by now, because as price got to the low, I probably would have gone break even, and that would have taken me out of the trade. So yeah, missing the trade didn't really mean too much, to be honest, but I still do like New Zealand CAD to the downside, but we are quite flat right now, so I need to be careful with that. But yeah, dollar CAD shorts and gold silver longs look good. John, good morning. No problem. Yes, we can take a look at dollar CHF. For a sell, yep, we can take a look at. Yeah, no problem. Happy to help, Yusuf. So dollar CHF. So this one's been interesting. I'm looking at the higher time frames for dollar CHF, and I'm looking at the weekly chart. It looks to me that we've got price support here, taking that across resistance at the moment. A lot of wicks to the upside. Prices try to break through. We're failing to do so at the moment. In terms of the shorts for dollar CHF, the only thing I don't like is how corrective we are on the way down. Yes, we're testing resistance, which we just looked at, but we're kind of very slow, and I don't like that. I don't mind the consolidation we had, but I would want price to break the downside with force and then pull back and give me the opportunity on a retest to continue that momentum. Because we're quite corrective, it almost looks like some type of bull flag for us to continue higher. This is your impulse, that's your correction, potentially another impulse. So I can see that happening as well. But I wouldn't look to take any buys until I see maybe momentum breaking past this counter trend line. If price does see a strong close like that, then perhaps that flag pattern is underway. In terms of shorting dollar CHF, I would suggest you want price to respect this area and not break above, because we've been very consistent with these lower highs, and you don't want to see price, of course, break through the channel and, of course, create a new higher high. Like I said, that'll be a bullish signal, and at that point, I think we could rally. So shorts look good for now, especially from this area. We did wick into that level and reject it pretty well. It would be nice if we can get a slightly better entry, so if price can push up, reject a little bit better, so you can find an entry closer to that level, and a stop loss above the high, then yeah, I do think that's a nice place for a short, and you've got some targets back at the low. But yeah, I would be careful. I probably wouldn't be looking for the home run back to lows, just because, again, of how corrective we are. This could be a channel for us to potentially go higher. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But if I'm going to short dollar CHF, it is probably going to be from here, around 0.807, and yeah, targets back at the low, keeping things relatively simple. But yeah, the lack of momentum does put me off, and because of how corrective we are. If it was a bit more of a steep trend and I saw more momentum, I'll like that a lot more. Okay, also Euro Pound, no problem. We can take a look at Euro Pound as well. So yeah, Euro Pound, not a pair which I've been paying too much attention to. It's an interesting one because it looks like we're starting to consolidate, and also looks like we're kind of stuck at resistance to our left here. I wouldn't be surprised if we top out and see some downside, to be honest. The plan coming into the week was, okay, price is kind of flat. We've got support here, which is doing a really good job of respecting price. Of course, we've got the equal highs up there mostly. So if we did break to the downside here, that would be a strong sign to say that, okay, price is probably reversing, especially a pullback to come and retest. That would probably provide some nice opportunities for a short. And we could see somewhat of an uptrend. Not somewhat of an uptrend, somewhat of a downtrend, but mirror this uptrend on the way up, but on the way down, of course. So I'm expecting to see a pretty clean trend if that does occur, and the push back to the lows here. But of course, we've seen some strength recently. Would I get excited about the buys? No, not quite. It hasn't done anything. We haven't broke through any key structure. Yes, we broke through some resistance here, but it doesn't really provide much significance. I wouldn't be too surprised if this actually ends up being another lower high for us to come back down again, to be honest. So I'm not quite sold with anything in terms of a bullish nature for Euro Pound. The way I see it, price is back at resistance and just stalling. If price does break highs well, then yeah, I'll reinvestigate. Maybe we are bullish. Maybe we are going to continue the trend. But I quite like the sell idea, which of course is still far away. We need to get there first, actually break out, then retest. So that could take a week or two to develop. But yeah, the way I see Euro Pound right now is a range anyway. So I wouldn't really look to do anything unless we're back at this level. Even if I was looking to buy it, I'd wait for price to reach support again and look for opportunities for a long there. But yeah, we are really flat, and I like the idea of some shorts below this area. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro Pound. Not a pair which I'm looking at closely this week, or have been for the past month, to be honest, just because of conditions. And Euro Pound, it's not my favorite pair. It does provide some nice opportunities here and there, which I do keep tabs on, but it's got to look really good for me to be looking to trade it. So in terms of the rest of the week, of course, we do have NFP on Friday. I think that's probably what a lot of the dollar pairs are going to be waiting for. It's been a while since I've looked to trade a USD pair, and again, it's just because of the conditions have been so flat, which is why I've just been on the sidelines with USD. And that will remain the case until we see a healthy breakout, and hopefully it'll be done by Friday. So next week, come in fresh, nice opportunities, up or down, I'm not too sure. Then we can find some opportunities backing that up. But like I said, dollar CAD, gold and silver, the three pairs I'm the most interested in about at the moment anyway. That could change if USD gets this ball rolling. In terms of yen, I think there could be some nice opportunities regarding breakouts, but I'm being patient with that. Yeah, I'm being patient with that. Of course, I'm currently in Aussie yen. That I'm just going to continue to trail my stop. There's not much for me to do apart from that, really. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that we just get momentum to break the highs and we can continue trading the stop loss beyond that. But I will probably trail the stop loss a bit more very, very soon. Yeah. New Zealand CAD I'll keep an eye on as well. I like the shorts there. Bongani, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Short scalps on Euro dollar and pound USD. Buys. Oh, are you saying short-term buys on euro and pound? Because the playing short. I thought you meant sell. So short-term buys on euro and pound. More so pound, yeah. Euro, I'm not quite sold on that just because of where we're trading. I mean, if price can get to the low, then yeah, sure. This area here, if we can push to the low of the range, then I think that's a more of an effective place for a buy for euro dollar. Pound at the moment is already trading at a very nice area for a buy, which is basically this support level here. Rejection, rejection, looking for another one. So I like where pound USD is situated, and I think buying from there makes a lot of sense, especially when it looks like price is already faked lower. So potentially already, you got that kind of fake move lower to potentially go higher. So I like that for pound. If you're looking at scalps, you probably already want to be in the market. It depends what type of scalp you're talking about, because you can potentially scalp a 4-hour time frame. For example, I can find like an entry here. Let's look for a quick move here. That's a quick kind of scalp in and out. Of course, in relation to times, not necessarily a scalp, because you could be in that for like 3-4 hours. But it's still kind of a scalp. It's a short-term trade off that time frame. If you're looking for like a 15-minute chart, let's say, and let me know which time frame you're looking to scalp from. Let's say if you're looking at a 50-minute chart. If I'm looking for a scalp, I would be waiting for a push back to the lows here. So let's say if price can get there again, reject well, catch a nice buy off that, then I'm one and done. Yeah, that's what I'll be looking at. If I'm looking for a scalp on like a 50-minute chart, this is where I will look to position myself, because I know there's a good chance we bounce there. We might not continue back to highs and see a huge trend, but I know there's a good chance we bounce if we do see sufficient rejection. So that's where the scalp would be. In terms of euro dollar, again, I do think that you could probably see a bounce there, but I'd rather wait for the low of the range and then look for a bounce there as well. That'd be a more meaningful area for a buy. And again, a good reaction of at least seeing a bounce and catching that scalp. So yeah, I think euro and pound, wait for pushback to support. You probably got a better opportunity back there. Euro shorts on the 15. Not quite seeing that. I mean, we are very consistent with these lower highs, but I'm not seeing an opportunity to really short it. Maybe a pushback to resistance here. But I wouldn't be over the moon with that, because the way I see it, we're kind of in the middle of a range, so I don't really like the opportunity, to be honest. But if I had to, yeah, I would expect a reaction at the highs. But yeah, for euro, I'm more favoring the longs as price comes back to the low of the range, just looking for a bounce at the low. Okay, yeah, understood. Yeah, if you're looking for a short-term buy, I like the idea. Price reaches support again, reacts with it well, looking for a bounce, makes sense to me. What's up, Jeremy? I hope you're doing good. Welcome. Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. Very helpful. Good to hear. Happy to help. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It does really help out the channel. Of course, you can hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future, because of course you'll be notified. Share with your friends, and of course, if you do want to support the channel further, there is the memberships below which have some added perks. So if you're interested, check it out. Of course, I have linked the Zentrix perps platform on the top of the chat. So if you want to check out the platform, you can do. And if you do want to participate in the trading challenge, which I can drop the link in again. Again, it's just a fun challenge to test out the platform, trade some cryptocurrencies. There will be rewards for the best performing traders there. So have some fun and potentially earn a reward as well. Let me just get the link. Okay. Where's the link? Okay, I've got the link. Couldn't find it for a second. But yeah, there's the link. If you are interested in signing up, head over to that link. You can drop your email if you are interested. Forex Navigator, gold is going up. Yeah, it is going up, isn't it? It is going up. It is going up. Oh, yeah, on the 15 it is. I mean, gold can smash through this range at any point, which is, again, going back to my previous point. If you're looking to sell here, be flexible. If you're looking to sell gold, you don't want to be stubborn with that trade because you know you're up against the tide. You know you're selling against the grain. So if that is the case, if you do see momentum start to pick up against you, get out the trade. You can always re-enter later on. But you don't want to be in a situation where you're stubborn, especially if you're not trading with a stop loss. You can get caught in some really ugly trades where price just keeps going against you, kind of waiting for it to turn around again, and it doesn't. But yeah, we'll push it back into resistance. Now, again, if you're a buyer, also don't get too excited as well because we're still trading directly into resistance here. Price could still very much fall flat in its face from this level. Yes, the trend is up and you probably would favor it to break out, but you wait for the breakout before guessing it. So if you're looking for opportunities, especially on the lower chart, as I said, I still like the buys here for the low. If price can get there again and reject well, I still think that's the best place for a buy. Possibly a breakout as well. You can be looking at that. I think we're in good conditions for breakouts too. I think we are quite choppy here, so I would wait for a very meaningful candle closure. Nothing half-hearted, but yeah, from what I'm seeing, it just looks like we're ranging and we're getting ready for price to break out. If it does break out well, even something like this could look good. Retest, continuation. But yeah, gold is looking bullish. Silver probably looking bullish as well in the same light. I like them both. Yeah, it's trying to push up. Maybe not as aggressive. But yeah, the way I see it, it's just a waiting game. You know, will gold pull back to those areas? Will silver pull back to those areas? Maybe. If it does, I'm there to take it. If not, if the trend does continue, we'll create areas as we go along. And those new areas price creates will be areas which we look to pull back into. But the key element here is momentum. If that momentum keeps up, you're just looking to buy the lows, buy the lows, buy the lows. And then we'll eventually get some selling pressure that will kick in, which will kind of make us second guess, and we'll probably pause our buys when that happens. But for now, there are no red flags. There's no strong selling pressure, not coming to major levels of resistance. The plan very much is keep looking to buy. And yeah, that'll be the plan for gold and silver. And especially if the DXY does reject the high of the range, could see price make a move back to 97.6. That should help gold and silver rally as well. But yeah, I'll wait for the breakout. I think 13 is too small. I don't think you'd be able to take a trade with $13. I mean, depends on the brokerage. Maybe you got the leverage for it, but highly doubt it. Again, gold's probably not the pair to be trading really, especially with a very, very small account. Just because of how volatile it is, you know, that could disappear very, very quickly. Like I said, stick with the demo trading. Get confident with that first. If you are going to trade on a very small account, probably need a bit more than that, to be honest, to trade kind of appropriately, because risk management is just going to go out the window. But I probably would stick to a little bit slower moving pairs like euro, dollar, even pound USD. Gold, for what it is, you don't really stand much of a chance really. Even if you're in the right direction, a slight fluctuation against you probably just takes you out the position. So yeah, I don't think so. I mean, maybe if you got really high leverage, maybe, but I doubt it. Anyway, guys, we have come back to the end of the stream. I will be live again tomorrow, as always, and Friday. I'm live every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you are enjoying the streams, of course, pop in tomorrow. Would love to see you guys all there. If you have enjoyed today's stream, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Of course, I do really appreciate all the love. It does help the channel grow, and it makes for what it is. So I do really appreciate that, guys. And of course, share it with your friends, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And check out the memberships if you are interested to support the channel further. But yeah, guys, I will be live again tomorrow. Check out the Zenthor Experts platform if you haven't done so already. Again, we are running a competition. I've just dropped the link there. If you do want to join, participate, just a bit of fun, you can check it out in the link there as well. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.
Six AI agents, each built with a unique edge. Miko, AI, Team Leader. Ori AI, Fundamental Analyst. Exi, AI, Technical Analyst. Mesa, AI, Risk Management Specialist. Fenwa, AI Market Sentiment Analyst. And Naledi AI, the cryptocurrency expert. Together, they're engineered to protect, guide, and transform your trading. The future of trading is here. Experience Zenthor AI.